guys, Bonebuster72 here again. This time we're going to talk about security and the use of firearms during an emergency event, specifically a WROL, a without rule of law type of situation. Now the use of firearms can be a sensitive subject, and there are those people who don't believe in owning them whatsoever. But let me tell you, being anti-gun is not going to help you in a complete lawless type event, especially when you're faced with someone who isn't as politically correct as yourself. And also, what are you going to do if you finally come across a food source, a rabbit or a squirrel? What are you going to do, bore it to death with your well-prepared speech on the evils of guns? There's a reason why everyone on the Wild West frontier was armed. They wanted to survive. So let's talk about the morality of killing. There are some people who say it's never okay. You should never kill anyone for any reason whatsoever, even to defend yourself. And you know what? I guess that's their right as a human being to think that way. I personally don't agree with it. I recently watched one of those prepper shows. You know, it's a very popular one on TV. And there was a pacifist prepper on there. And he was talking about what he would do when faced with armed bandits. Well, he said he would just invite some of them over, have them for dinner, and see what they were all about. Maybe join forces. And if he didn't like their attitude, he would just poison them or kill them in their sleep. Now, I have a question for you, though. What if this guy decides to show up and he just shoots first and asks questions later? He doesn't care about you. He just wants what you have. He's willing to kill you to take it. Now there's the opposite type of person who's willing to kill for just about any reason now. He's willing to kill for some pocket change or that new pair of shoes. This person is going to have no problems killing during a complete WROL situation. This person is a very dangerous person now. He's going to be much more dangerous during an emergency. Now let's talk about some of you, shall we call, gun hoarders. Now I guess that's not a very nice thing to say, but let me say one thing to you guys. I like you. I really do. I like guns too. But if you're prepping for an emergency, you don't need every gun under the sun. You need a couple of different guns for specific purposes, but you should also spend some time and money on food and water and medicine and things like that to be prepared as well. And why is it that people get so hung up on handguns? Some people think that handgun equals defense, rifle equals hunting. I think this is just completely backwards, and maybe it's my military background, but my pistol was never my primary weapon. My rifle was my primary weapon. The only reason why I would use my pistol is if I was either in a very confined space and still needed to be armed, or if my rifle went down and stopped working, I would use my pistol to defend myself until I could fix it. And no matter how good of a shot you think you are with a handgun, I guarantee you a person with a rifle can reach out and touch you much further away than you can with a handgun. So when I'm talking about a rifle for a personal defense, I'm talking about a personal defense rifle. Now, I know people have mistakenly been calling these assault rifles recently, but it's not. It's not the same as an assault rifle, and I'm not going to get into that political argument here. But I think that a personal defense rifle is what you need during an emergency. Now this is your AR-15 or your AK-47. They both have good merits. They both have some bad things about them as well. An AR-15, the parts are readily available, well they used to be anyway, and same with ammo. If you have good brass ammunition, you can reload it for a long-term type event. Now the AK-47, while it may not be as available, it was getting better. And the ammo was fairly readily available and fairly cheap as well. Now most AK-47 ammo is not brass, so you couldn't reload it. But you can still find that out there too. Now as far as pistol goes, I think you should have one. It is good because you can conceal it. It's good for its small size in a confined space. And I do think that's something you should think about. I think a semi-auto in a common caliber is your best option. A 9mm is ideal. I don't think you should get too crazy and buy the most exotic and off-the-wall 9mm. I think you should go for something fairly common. A Glock, or the M&P, or the Springfield. Something that's fairly common that you may be able to find parts for. AR-15s and AK-47s and even semi-automatic handguns are kind of hard to find right now. So let me give you an alternate idea. A lever-action carbine in a handgun round, as well as a revolver double action in the same round, is something you should think about. If you were to get a lever action in a 44 Magnum, or a 45 Long Colt, or even a 357 Magnum, it will still be a good defensive round, and you should be able to take down some large game, even if you have to be a little bit closer. But a good plus is you only have to have one type of ammunition to feed both weapons. And if you decide that you need to reload, you only have to have the equipment and dies for that one round. Now that gets us to the most important weapon I think you can have. No, I'm not talking about your brain. That is the most important weapon, I guess. But the most important firearm that you can have is a .22 long rifle. I think that this is something everyone should have. This is the ideal weapon for taking down small game. And the ammo is fairly cheap. You can't reload it, but you can carry a lot of it. You can carry at least 5,000 rounds of .22 long rifle in the same amount of space and weight that 1,000 rounds of AK-47 ammo would take up. I know it's not the best defensive round, and you're not going to take down any big game with it. But it will do in a pinch for some things. You may not take down the big game, but you're definitely going to take down the small game. And for defensive, it might work in a pinch. You could also have a .22 pistol as your sidearm. But if you have young teenagers, this might be the ideal setup for them to carry during an emergency. I hear people now, what about my shotgun? And besides, the Vice President said a double barrel is the best thing that we could have for defense. I have a couple of double barrels right now, and trust me, they are not good for defense. Well, I guess I could beat somebody with it. That doesn't mean that a semi-auto or a pump-action shotgun isn't a good defensive weapon. It is, if you're in your home. If you're on the move, it's going to be hard to carry enough ammo to make it worth your while. If you're traveling by vehicle, by all means, bring every gun you have and as much ammo as you can carry. And that includes a high-powered rifle. So let's talk about that next. I'm talking about a bolt-action with a scope, high-powered rifle, a hunting rifle. This will be good to defend yourself at a long distance if you can see the person coming. And it also works great for hunting. That's its purpose after all. But again, I don't think this is where you need to concentrate. If you can carry that gun with you, if you have a vehicle and you have the space, by all means take it. I think you need to concentrate on your personal defensive rifle and a pistol, and definitely have a .22. So this has been firearms and their use during a WROL event. Please let me know what you think. Give me your ideas. Tell me your thoughts. If you have a specific gun that you think is ideal, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And the next time we're going to talk about some other options to keep yourself safe, not using a firearm. Till next time, take care and be safe.